Back in March of 2025, this piece of shit scammed me for $7,000 of my hard-earned money. Now, during my high school years, I worked very hard to maintain my 4.0 GPA. And so my high school gave me a $5,000 scholarship when I graduated. And like any good academic scholar, instead of spending it on university tuition, I just did my first money spread and then put the money in my bank. And when it came time to actually use the money, I realized that I needed to buy a car from Facebook Marketplace because my bike, which was my main form of transportation at the time, caught my shoelace in the gear and then I fell in front of the Huzz. Now all my friends and family, they were like, why would you even buy a car? You're literally a college student who can take the bus for free and every class is a 5-minute walk. And they also said that I'd probably get scammed. And side note, every car my family has ever bought from Facebook Marketplace has broken down and blew up within 2 days of buying it, so we're pretty heavily scarred from unreliable vehicles. But I always thought it was because they kept buying GMC and Chevy vehicles, and I was going to be different by buying Honda or Toyota, which are generally the more reliable brands. And my dad was very much against me buying a car. He told me, son, you're going to end up getting scammed with a broken car that's going to end up rotting away in our driveway. Me being an engineer at a top school thinking I was smarter than him, I was like, I'll never let that happen. And then spoilers, that's exactly what happened. Because my family didn't support me buying a car, my friend helped me find a $7,000 car, but it wasn't on Facebook Marketplace, it was on something worse. Craigslist. My friend showed me the car and it was a beautiful 2009 Honda with 3 rows of seats, 100,000 miles, no check engine light, and it was bulletproof reliable. Anyways, when it came time to buy the car, I gathered all my money and my friend picked me up to go buy it. When we test drove it, it was literally awesome. I mean, it was super fast, very clean, and the guy even gave us a free Carfax to show me he wasn't scamming me. And I was like, this is great. Now I definitely can't get scammed. He literally gave us the Carfax, and I thought, you know what? This is the one for sure. And when it came time to actually give him the money, I literally did everything you could possibly do wrong. I didn't get a bill of sale. I didn't realize he wasn't the owner on the title. I didn't buy my own Carfax. I didn't question how a 2009 or 16-year-old car could only have 100,000 miles. I also didn't get a pre-purchase mechanic inspection, and I also didn't realize that he only made the test drive like 10 minutes long on pure 30-mile-per-hour roads. And on top of that, when I gave him the money, the guy literally had the audacity to tell me, now here comes the bad part for you, as he laughed evilly. That literally should have been a red flag to me, but again, I don't even know what I was thinking. After ignoring every red flag in the car market, I gave the man all my money and drove home in my brand new car. And so I got home, turned the car off, and went inside my house. But then I realized, you know what, I want to go to Walmart. So I got back in, turned the car on, and while I was warming up the car, I hear a sound. Almost like a warning sound. And so I look up at my dashboard and see this dude cleared 6 misfiring cylinders from the car. I barely knew anything about cars and this was my first car ever, and so I sent the codes to a group chat with all my friends and they were like, yep, you're cooked. One friend told me that he had a singular engine misfire and never went away after $1,000. And to think I had 6 of them? Guys, the way my heart dropped, it felt like I just found out that my mother had cancer, except it wasn't my mother, it was my $7,000 new car marked for death. And I mean, the car still ran okay because it's Honda quality, but if I didn't get this thing fixed soon, the car would 100% eventually. But you know the crazy part? I was more scared of my dad crashing out on me for being right, and when I told him what happened, that's actually exactly what he did. After a 4-hour lecture from my dad in the middle of the night, I went to sleep and woke up the next day with a conviction to fix what happened. First, I searched up if I could legally do anything about clearing check engine lights, and to my disappointment, there pretty much wasn't. I even went to the police station and they basically said to kick rocks and buy from a dealer next time. So then I sent the scammer a message and I asked what all this funny business was about, and he was like, oh, those are just misfires. Just put in some fuel cleaner, redline the car on the highway, and you'll be straight. I was like, oh, okay, that's not too bad. Maybe he didn't scam me. And I looked up what he said on Google, and it actually sounded like a pretty valid method to fixing misfires, because adding fuel cleaner and accelerating at Mach 5 makes it so that the fuel injectors get cleaned and carbon deposits get burnt, which are both things that cause misfires. Now here's the thing, I bought this car during spring break and had to go back to university, so I didn't actually have time to do what he said. So I had to wait like 10 weeks until summer break to finally do what he said I should. And when I finally got home from college to fix the car, I did exactly what he said by putting the fuel cleaner in the car and going felony speeds on the highway, and absolutely nothing happened. After he played in my face, I kinda accepted that I'd been scammed and just decided to have the car mechanically fixed. And after some research, I found out that changing the spark plugs could fix the misfires, and since it was at 100,000 miles, it was probably overdue on that anyways, so I had my friends DIY that repair, but it did nothing. Then I also found out that bad ignition coils could also cause misfires, so I had my friends DIY that too, but it also did nothing. Then I took it to a local mechanic, and even the mechanic didn't know what the f was going on. That's when I knew that this repair was probably going to cost me more than 2 bands, so I decided to just take the L and become employed so I can make money to fix the car. And after making 5 bands from a job that I got in 8 weeks, it was finally time to take the car, which had been rotting in my driveway as my dad predicted, to a dealership to have it professionally diagnosed and repaired. But before I did that, I put on my thinking cap and I realized, okay, if I'm going to drop like 4 bands or more to repair a car, I need to make sure it won't just blow up after repairing it. So I thought I should probably buy the Carfax myself to make sure it's had proper service and repairs in its lifetime. Now when I bought the Carfax, let me just start by saying that I was already having a bad day. I was having family issues, I thought I had cancer, and I just genuinely felt like this emoji. So imagine how I felt when the Carfax delivered the final blow to my sanity to show this. What? This dude not only lied about the condition of the vehicle, but the mileage too. And okay, sometimes when you take your car to get serviced, the clerk can fat finger and type in the wrong odometer number. So I thought, okay, maybe that's what happened here. Nope. The car surpassed the mileage around 2018, so it couldn't have been a simple fat finger error. So I consulted my good friend ChatGPT and told it about the situation I was in, and it was about angrier than me. It told me that what he did is highly illegal and that I needed to sue the hell out of him, and I was like, whoa, I'm only 19 years old. I barely know how to fill out my FAFSA, much less fill out legal paperwork and hire a lawyer and all that crazy stuff. So I told ChatGPT that I have room temperature IQ, and it said that I can actually take him to small claims court, which is basically court on easy mode, but you don't actually need a lawyer. Also, I was concerned that I waited too long to find out about this issue because I bought this car in March and it was now the middle of July, but ChatGPT told me that you can legally have up to 2 years to start a lawsuit if you found out your car has odometer fraud. So for all of you who recently got scammed like me, go see what you can do. Anyways, I was still concerned about the costs and like filling out the paperwork and like where do I even go to fill out this paperwork and how long do I have to wait to go to court because school's coming up soon since summer's already ending. And guys, look, I'm lazy as hell, and if I didn't have ChatGPT, all these lingering questions on how to successfully sue someone would have just discouraged me from actually suing the guy. Even when I went on Google or YouTube, there was barely information on suing a car scammer for odometer fraud and misrepresentation of a vehicle's condition, so ChatGPT as my lawyer was basically my only hope of getting my money back. And with ChatGPT as my guide, it guided me to a government website for my state where I could submit my lawsuit online, and that actually brought a huge sigh of relief because I thought you had to submit a lawsuit in person, like at a courthouse. So that was a good thing because I'm kind of shy and don't like socializing because it hurts. But the online paperwork was still extremely confusing, and I genuinely would have been, for the second time, discouraged from filling out the lawsuit form if it wasn't for chat. Like there was a page on the form where I had to submit a required lead document, and I tried searching up on Google what that meant, and it said that I could submit a complaint document to start my lawsuit with no further explanation of what a complaint document is. But chat put in the work by making me a complaint document in a properly legally structured format, and it turns out that a complaint document is actually exactly that, a complaint that describes why you're taking the dude to court, but even then I wouldn't have known how to make one. Now the hardest thing by far that chat made infinitely easier was servicing the summons. And me being 19, I didn't know that you had to have a sheriff or a private party deliver paperwork to the person you're suing to inform them that they're being sued, which actually makes sense now that I think about it. But doing all of that was challenging because, again, I didn't know where to go or what to do or how to fill out a summons form. Eventually, ChatGPT helped me both start the lawsuit and properly serve the summons to a sheriff, and it turned out that I had to go to a courthouse and submit some papers there. And the whole lawsuit in total cost me like $500 to start the case, file the summons, and pay the sheriff to deliver them to the car scammer. And I was actually genuinely contemplating just not going through with it because there was actually a pretty big chance that I would have lost the lawsuit since I didn't have too much heavy hitting evidence. All I had was the Craigslist ad, his text messages, and the Carfax, which shows the car has odometer fraud, and none of this is evidence to prove that the guy in specific was the culprit of the fraud since there were like 2 previous owners before him. But the way I saw it, I was gambling $500 to get $7,000 back. And I realized that I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I passed up this opportunity and kept the car that was 1,000 miles away from imploding. So I bought my case. Also, before I bought the lawsuit, Chat advised me to send the guy certified mail letters and text messages which basically said, "Give me my money back or I'm gonna sue you." And see, if I made the messages myself, I definitely would have weakened my case by saying something stupid. Like, I definitely would have shown him all my evidence to scare him into giving me my money back, which probably would have backfired by giving him prep time to form a defense, but thankfully Chat told me not to do that. Anyways, the offer to the car scammer was that he gives me 70% of what I paid him, or $5,000, and I return the car, or else he gets sued. And he denied it by ghosting me, which gave me the legendary opportunity of a lifetime to say, after aura farming with that message and him ghosting me and Chat started cooking up how we were going to present our evidence so I had 0 chance of losing the case. And get this, like 5 days after I filed the summons to the Sheriff's Civil Process Division, I was just minding my business at IKEA with my family when I got a text message. It was the fucking car scammer. It turns out that when a sheriff shows up at your door with a lawsuit, you really start to pee your pants. We ended up having to negotiate the final price and I was like, bro, you are in no position to be negotiating a final price with me. I told him, well, since you accepted after I paid all the court fees, I'm gonna need $5,500. And this dude said, can you do $4,975? Anyways, $4,975 was $5,000 in my eyes, and I just really wanted to get my money back and was scared that he might cancel and we might really have to go to court. So I just said, okay, fine, give me my money. Now, before we settled, Chat came up with a really good idea to write up a contract so that when I return the car and the title, future problems don't boomerang back to me. And with that safety measure, we ended up agreeing to meet at a local bank, and bro, I got there before him and he ended up being 40 minutes late. Whole time, I was genuinely scared this dude was going to hire a goon to go Swiss cheese me in front of the bank. Because you never even know these days. I ended up praying that I didn't get slimed out for like 20 minutes before he finally pulled up to the bank and gave me the money in return for his car. He also signed those papers that I mentioned that ChatGPT wrote, which meant I was officially safe and $5,000 richer. So in conclusion guys, please get a Carfax before buying